Hey, this is Jesse. Welcome to the Dad Smart podcast. Hope you enjoy the episode.
Just slurp it.
Just slurp it.
Do your kids do things like that? Like make loud noises when they're drinking stuff? Like eating their cereal and slurping every single bite?
Not really the slurping, but I feel like they make loud noises every other moment of their life. Just constant noises.
Ollie had a hockey thing, but then there was like a gap of time, so we went to lunch, and then the kids left with the coach to go back to the arena, and it was just the parents, and it was dead silent. And one of the parents was like, "It's so quiet." I think we just like don't make noises anymore as adults because the space is just filled up for
Constantly
us.
filled up.
Mm-hmm. I don't need to say anything.
I just rewatched the Miracle movie, the hockey movie.
So
It's a good one. It's right up there with Moneyball for me.
Oh, yeah.
I can
Ooh.
I can watch that over and over. Moneyball is amazing. I love the movie because, well, it's baseball, but also the movie. The storyline's great, but the score is amazing. The music score is really good.
The score is good. I'm hearing it right now in my head.
I know. The electric guitar parts combined with some strings parts. Ooh, it's nice.
It's really good.
It's nice. Very inspirational score.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. There's some things that I think I want to talk about, but it has been a crazy time here in Minneapolis in January of 2026. It's
just wild.
It's really, I don't even, how do you have words for this kind of moment in history?
Yeah.
It's crazy living through this time. And it's also crazy being a parent of little ones during this time. Where's the rule book or the guide to help through the things that are happening? You know, like how much of a shelter do you put over it? How much do you let them know what's going on, or if they hear about things? Or even just driving down the street, they see signs and everything, and they can read now because we taught them how to read.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of signs everywhere, and they're like, "What's that?" And I mean, here's the crazy thing: a week before the second killing, after Ollie's hockey practice, Ollie said, "Hey, Dad, let's go get donuts." It was a Saturday morning. Like, all right, let's go get some donuts. So we drove over to Glam Doll Donuts, which is the donut shop. Right outside is where all this went down. Like, we were just there, to see images and see things happening in the same places that we go, and this is kind of tough. I don't even really know if I have advice on how to get through it.
Yeah, that's I mean, obviously, this conversation translates to lots of things that our kids will experience, see, learn, be a part of, have friends who are experiencing things different than they will experience things. So yeah, it's tricky. I feel like we constantly have to be in a state of intentionally sheltering. Because if we don't, I think the world has a lot to say. And I trust the maturity of our home and my heart, my wife's heart, the things that we value to navigate difficult conversations with my kids, instead of what they're learning being from, whatever, signs, friends, everything. So I honestly, I mean, we are still trying to figure out how to process all of these hard things too, so it's kind of like a combination of, when your kids are old enough or whatever, like, let's process this together, but also not be hardline, this is what. I don't know, I think you have to be open-minded enough to be able to have your kid learn from seeing you model it, of being open to listening and loving, hearing both sides, not jumping to conclusions. I think all of those things all at once can be true and are all valuable lessons for our kids to learn. It's almost more important, I think, right now for our kids to see us modeling what it looks like to lovingly listen and like lament in people's pain and speak up when we need to speak up, and all of those things, because I mean, Lord knows there's plenty of anger out there that our kids are gonna see their whole life, so I think it's important for them to see a level-headed version of processing the difficult things in their own home,
There are things that can happen in our world that are outside of our control completely. And, the whole stereotype of homeschool kids are sheltered and they're in a bubble, or they're not exposed to reality. It's kind of like in this moment where that's okay, but I don't necessarily want them to be ignorant of what's happening. Like, I want them to be informed properly, and because this is a big moment. But at the same time, like, one of my kids is 6 years old, so what is appropriate in this moment to like let them comprehend. And so what's interesting is, I said in history we're doing story of the world, and so much of story of the world are a ruler of this country decided they wanted to take that country, and then they took that country, and then they kicked all those people out of that country, and then the next ruler came in and they took this back, and then they wanted this one. And so like we're going through like history of like, well, this is actually still happening right now. And actually that was a kind of a teaching moment when it was about Spain, and I think it was Ferdinand and Isabella time period, and they took over all these different parts of Spain, and then they kicked out all of a certain group of people out of the country completely. And after we listened to it, my 6-year-old was like, that's just really sad. I was like, okay, we kind of just opened a door right here to be like, yeah, and this is a saying that you'll hear over and over again, is history will repeat itself. And right now there's some of that still happening in the world, believe it or not. That and he's like, well, what do you mean? It's still happening. And so you get to explain a little bit of current events, and they go, wow. They already, like, you can sense like the heaviness that the reality is like happening, but it came through like our history lesson turning into like modern day current history. And so what is happening in the world right now is coming into our school, but it's coming into, at least it's coming in a way where it's coming in through like our discussion, through our understanding of it, and then we're able to translate it for kids who are 9 years old and 6
Kids,
years
yeah.
old,
Mhm.
and how do they interpret that information?
We as adults are processing all of these things as mature adults who have fully developed brains, and it's hard for a kid to process a lot of these things because their brains are still developing, but their brains develop based off of what they see and what's modeled and what they're told. And some people are learned not to challenge what they're told. Some people are taught, like, let's actually see, is there another perspective here, So
Mm.
I think we have that freedom, honestly, to look at different perspectives, but I think
Mm.
it's interesting because I would say that there is a piece of homeschooling that feels like I want to protect my kid from a lot of the crazy stuff culturally that I don't agree with. That's a positive angle to think, you know what? I actually want to be able to set the lens by which my kid is going to experience the world, and I'm going to be mature and intentional about it, and we're going to look
Mm.
at different perspectives and everything without going too far to the left or too far to the right on the pendulum, because we all know that that's where the issue is. We all have like differences, and it's all a pendulum, whether it's schooling, politics, faith, whatever, and the issues are way over here and way over here, and the reality is, let's figure out a way to realize that a lot of us are just teetering in this little middle section right here. And
Mm.
so I think I want to be the centering anchor person in my kid's life that they can trust to come and ask those hard questions.
Yeah.
And it kind of starts now as we're
Yeah.
developing that with them, Yeah, it's a really tough, tricky thing that we're processing as adults too.
Yeah. When you decide to homeschool and you decide to take on this role as a teacher, to be involved with the education, what's really cool, something that really cool that happens is you learn that all of life is a discussion. And this gets said all the time, that life is learning. That's the beautiful part of homeschool. But when life is learning and when life gets ugly, on the outside, and it wants to come in, life is still learning. But this is why what we're talking about, being dad smart, being involved, being intentional, knowing why we're doing this is so important, because flowing between being just a teacher while we're learning about the history of the world, and then all of a sudden now we have to kind of be a mentor through real events and help and be a guide for them as they experience things that kids probably shouldn't experience yet or be exposed to. But we get to be in conversation with them. We get to continually have discussion about these things, and they can see how we are positioning ourselves and how we are reacting. What are we doing, and how do we act in these hard moments? Do we, so going and buying an extra bag of groceries and then delivering it to a place where we know those in need can get it, or various things that you can do, like putting what you talk about into action. Like, what would we like to do about it? And so, like, as a family, you get to like make choices, and you get to once again just kind of be in the middle where it feels right, and it feels like, okay, let's make a choice. Let's make choices together how we want to respond in a moment where, when a response is needed, when you can't necessarily just sit passive because it's come to you.
Yeah.
You know, there has to be a reaction to it.
Yeah,
It's tough.
I think this topic of helping your kids process through hard things is probably an unseen piece of deciding to be a teacher, a mentor, a guide. Being part of homeschool is that you need to realize that that decision is coming for you. Meaning, if you're not cut out to be the kind of person, now talking to you, homeschooler, as an adult, like if you're not cut out to say, you know what, I'm going to pause. I'm going to actually think through how I feel about this. I'm going to do the hard work of asking questions, doing my research, not jumping to conclusions, loving people no matter what. Like if I'm not prepared to do that as a mature adult, I don't think I'm prepared and will ever be prepared enough to be a good homeschool dad. Because a lot of people, I don't know if they realize that that's what they're signing up for. Like, you're not signing up to be an expert in everything, but you are signing up to committing to helping figure it out and helping your kid learn as well. And so, yeah, homeschooling is not an easy way out. It never will be. I think it's in moments like this, it's kind of like makes us remind ourselves that, man, like, I need to be prepared, because like you'll start getting those questions and you'll realize, man, why have I have a lot of processing to do myself, and you got to be like ready to do the hard work of doing that, because you can't just turn your kid away and be like, I don't know, because someone else is going to teach them why. Someone else is going to tell them why something's happening, and may or may not be set in reality and love, So like, we got to be ready for that and prepared for it, and that's the hard part of being a mentor. Yeah. I feel like this is a timely conversation to have, because, I mean, homeschooling and parenting, it's not a neat and tidy thing, Like, I feel like there's a lot of us get into this and we're like, let's go get our new colored binder, let's get our paper and our pens, and we'll get our laminator, and we're going to get our 3-hole punch, and it's going to work great, it's going to look like this. All of these things that we have, this is a big metaphorical thing that I'm going with here. And we like have this idea of how homeschool and the great lessons we're going to teach our kids, we have this idea of how it might look or should look. And the reality is, it's messy. Pages get ripped out, crayons get broken, and that's just like also the metaphor of the world we live in, and we have to be okay and ready to take it as it goes and call an audible if we need to, and process things together as a family. And that's also kind of the beauty of being a homeschool dad. Being dad smart is that you get that opportunity to be that voice in your kid's life, but it kind of requires you doing the hard work and being mature enough to process those kind of things before the questions come,
Let's call it what it is. It is amazing that we get to remain as a family during a very tough time in life or history. We get to remain like at its like core, its tightest group, our family. Not only do we get to continue to learn through this moment, but we get to continue to grow closer together, gain understanding, have shared values, but have real conversations about what it looks like. Like, you know, there's two sides to every story. So what are the two sides being? Why are these two sides, and what are they saying, and how do we feel about that? And we get to do that. In this moment, I am so grateful to do it as a family, and at this moment I don't want an outside perspective, whatever that perspective is. We get to set the volume, we get to set the tone, we get to, and this isn't like, all right, everybody sit down, this is how we're interpreting what's happening right now. But like I said, it's we get to talk about it. We get to our family has open conversation and trust, and we can look at things, and I hope that as our kids grow older, that openness continues on into what I perceive will be more and more difficult things, and as they get older, becoming teenagers and then young adults. Like, I would hope that what we establish here now sets a place of safety and comfort, and knowing that, like, I can go there to just find reprieve from all of it, and just like have space to like think, talk, and like try to understand the moment, and then step out from there. And I can say though right now that I'm really grateful that we get the opportunity to do this, to homeschool, to be so intentional, and we get to be right there. We get to be right there with them, because I do think that this moment is having a huge impact on kids, big time. So, anyone who is thinking about wanting to homeschool, or what are the benefits or not the benefits, like right now, this is a big time benefit to be able to do it, among so many other reasons. But when people need to come together and really understand their values and understand a moment like this in history, I'm really glad that I get to do it with my wife and with my kids, and we get to do it together.
Yeah, and it would be easy to be like, well, duh, now is like, look at this big benefit. Oh yeah, I'm going to jump on board. But also, I think just that last piece of what you said, like, in a moment where it's so important for our family values to be at the forefront of our learning, how we treat people to be at the forefront of our learning. Like, I would push back on anyone to say, well, yeah, now that's the time. Like, is that not always the goal? Is that not always the lens by which we would want to treat our schooling, So yes, this moment right now and in this conversation we're kind of treating it like this may be, for someone hearing this conversation, will come across like this is a catalyst to me saying yes to, there's the value. I see the value. I don't want to let a moment like this pass. But I would just push back on someone to just say, like, I think the direness of the moment we live in just all the time in our culture right now needs to have that at the forefront. Like, the tight-knit family, the safety, the trust. Like, I would just say, man, that's probably why we have been doing it all. And like, it's seemingly obvious now, but I think those are reasons why we've done it from the start. You know, not out of necessity, but I'm just echoing what you're saying, that that's a valuable win all the time, not just during hard times, because in all reality, like, what else matters more than your kid knowing that they can come to you and have a safe space to process through the difficult things in life, you know? And they're not going to learn that from just after a hard season. They're going to learn that from day in and day out, knowing that my dad's there, my mum is there, my brother and sister are there, and we can go through this, like, together every day, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Oof. Tough time, but I'm also grateful I get to do this with my closest people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Remember 50 minutes ago when you said, I don't know if this is gonna, like, where we're going with this, but cool. That's awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for the chat.
Good night.